Hi, my name is Taylor Scott, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Now, this book review is going to be a little different than what I've done the previous book reviews, and that's because I want to make sure that these book reviews are concise. So I'm going to go into a 2-minute recap, as well as my thoughts and analysis, and some of those categories are going to be favorite topics, least favorite topics, etc. So without further ado, let's get into the book review. Two-minute recap starting now. I'm just kidding. Let me try it again. 2 minutes starts now. So we get to the market and Cinder is waiting for Aiko to deliver her new foot, and that is when Prince Kai, in disguise, comes to see her and asks her to fix his android, which has important information, but we don't know what it is. And so at this market, eventually someone across from Cinder's booth gets the plague, and then everyone shuts it down. Cinder walks home, and we meet the family, we meet the stepsisters, we meet Peony, who everyone likes, then we meet Adri, the stepmother, and Pearl, who are terrible human beings. So now, Cinder, Aiko, and Peony are going to the junkyard to find a missing part for one of Cinder's pieces because Cinder is a mechanic. Now, at this junkyard, Peony finds out that she has the plague, so Cinder has to call for Peony to get taken away because she has the plague. Adri and Pearl are very upset, so Adri sends Cinder to be experimented on to find a cure for the plague. So then she gets sent away and they insert her with the plague, but then they find out that she is immune. The doctor, Dr. Erlin, tells Cinder that she is a lunar, but at first he tells her that she is a lunar shell because shells do not have the ability to make other people see what they don't want to see, but they also cannot be affected by that lunar ability. So then Kai asks her to dance the first time. Then Kai's dad, the Emperor, dies, and Queen Lavana, the evil queen from the moon, comes to Earth. Then Kai asks Cinder to the dance once again. Then she passes out once again. And then Dr. Erlin tells Cinder she's not a shell and she in fact has abilities that have been blocked by the chip in the back of her spine. Boom. Because Cinder has been going back and forth and doing all of these things, Adri destroys Iko and takes Cinder's foot. Cinder gets a message about Lavana declaring war and then goes to save Kai at the ball. Then we have ball shenanigans. Cinder is exposed as a lunar and a cyborg. She gets locked up, and then Erlin tells her that she is in fact Princess Celine. Oh gosh. That was intense. Whew. Let's not do that again. So now we're going to get into my favorite moments. Okay, so when Kai first brings the android to see Cinder, and Cinder just hits the android on the head, I was like, it's so funny. It reminded me of those moments in high school where Miss Patel would tell us, if your laptop is malfunctioning, just restart it and hope for the best. And 9 times out of 10, it actually worked. So that was just funny for me. I also liked when Cinder is sassy. Cinder has shade, and I love how she was reading Adri for using all the money that Cinder worked hard for, and then Adri just stays in the house and doesn't do anything. I was like, wow, a read. There's this little Cinderella flash. I mean, because it is a Cinderella retelling, it was nice to see the little trickles in of information, like when Aiko called the car a rotting pumpkin. I was like, ooh, rotting pumpkin. Then they mentioned formaldehyde. You may think, Taylor, formaldehyde, how is that favorite? Well, because I've taken organic chemistry, I was like, ooh, formaldehyde. Another of my favorite moments was when the plague was disappearing from Cinder's body, okay? I love when people's evil backfires, okay? So they injected her with the plague, and the plague just went boop, 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 and disappeared. I was like, hey, no plague. And then when she walked back in to see her family, and they're like, oh, what happened? And she was like, I'm immune. Yeah. I was like, yes, you're immune. Next, we have to talk about her relationship with Kai. Even though they did have some cute moments here and there, it did feel more like a friendship. More of like, oh, you're a nice person. I'm a nice person. We're both nice people. Yeah. So, I don't know. I hope that, like, in subsequent books, they, like, make it more established of why they like each other. Because I don't really feel love. I feel more friendship, you know? But that's just me. When we find out she is lunar, I'm like, yes, she's lunar. Yes. Because I've read this book before, I was kind of waiting for it because I remembered some stuff, didn't remember other things, which I'm going to cover later. But when we found out she was lunar, I was like, oh yeah, she's lunar. She's not just a cyborg, but she's a lunar cyborg. Bam. When Aiko is a detective and she helps Cinder see that there has been an additional chip installed on the android, I was like, yes, Aiko, where is your... Yes, Aiko. Woo, we love it. Like I mentioned in a 2-minute recap, when we find out that she is not a shell and she just had a chip in her neck that was installed by her adopted dad who died, that it was able to block her powers and block, because so she wouldn't like have all those mental issues that are associated when lunars don't use their powers. So let's flash forward to the ball, okay? When Kai stops Adri from hitting Cinder, I was like, yes, Kai, yes, yes, you better protect your citizens. Ooh. He was like, this is a civilized matter, can we resume the dance? I was like, good job. My last favorite moment was finally, they've been hinting at it all throughout the book. And that was when Erlen reveals that Cinder is worth fighting for because she is, dun dun dun, Princess Celine. I was like, yeah, you're the princess. You're gonna save the world. Oh yeah, boom. So now we're gonna get into my yikes moments. And the first one is this. This new cover, look at it. No, why would we go from this amazing cover right here to this? What prompted this cover change? Why? Who needs to be fired? Because that's bad. That is a bad cover. And whoever approved this and said, oh, we should change it from the original cover was not thinking. I don't want that cover. I want the beautiful old cover that I remember. Okay. Whew. Also, I'm thinking about doing a video about cover changes, so let me know in the comments if you want that video. Then we get into the whole topic where they're dealing with an infectious disease and searching for a cure, and I'm like, the irony. Wow, not that Marissa Meyer predicted that when I was rereading this book that we'd be in quarantine from the corona. But I was like, it was just crazy. Another point where I was like, yikes, was when Adri volunteered Cinder for the android draft, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what's wrong with you? How rude. Like, she's your only source of income, and like, your husband like loved her and knew that she was worth fighting for, so you could at least try to not be so lazy and accept her into your family. Adri is just a terrible human being. When Queen Lavanna first arrived and Kai was like, I'll do anything for you, in his head, and he's like, I love her. And I was like, dude, she is lunar. She is using her abilities to make you feel these things. And then I was like, don't like royalty or people in power have training to avoid these interactions? Because how? It was so easy. It was so easy for her to make him feel these things within like a millisecond. How can he lead his country without being able to resist her craziness? Exactly. He should have training. Every time Cinder rejected Kai, and I'm gonna talk about this when I talk about shaking the table, but I was just like, I was like, first I was like, why are you saying no? And then I was like, stop asking. It was just weird. Like, obviously, she was concerned because she's like, oh, I'm a cyborg. He'd never want to be with me. But then I was like, well, he's asked you, so don't be in your head all about it. But then once she says no, there's no need to ask her 30 million more times. So yeah, but I'll discuss that later. When Adri was acting like Cinder was the money drain, when Cinder is the one who's actually making the money, and then Adri makes Cinder give her the foot, and then Adri destroyed Aiko, and I was like, ugh, rot, just rot. I was like, you do nothing. Cinder is the one who is being a mechanic, getting that coin, and you're the one using that coin. And the only reason she doesn't have access to that coin is because you're her legal guardian, which I'm going to discuss later. But it was just, no. Stop being lazy and get off your behind and do something, okay? It's ridiculous. After Cinder returns the android to Kai, Kai comes to the market and gives her a gift. Pearl sees the gift and she ruins the nice silk gloves. Okay, stop. You're just jealous because you know that you just can't measure up. Like, you have nothing to offer except your looks, and guess what? Your looks will fade. You are a shell, get it, of a human being, okay? Just rot with your mother. I may get red for this belief, but I'm just gonna say it. The fact that, like, all that what happened at the ball, I was like, this is a little undignified. Like, couldn't y'all have taken this outside? Like, the class was like, that's not what you do at a ball, okay? You do that after the ball when all of the guests have gone home. Like, can you imagine being at the ball and then going home and being like, did you see that? Did you see? I would be, wow, shaking, okay? It was so undignified. Speaking of when she kissed Kai, I was like, oh, yikes. And then another one that was really yikes was when Kai was like, was everything a lie? Now that I know you're a lunar, like, were you even nice to me? Is everything just a mirage? And I was like, no, Kai, it wasn't. You don't understand. But, oh well. So, because I've read Cinder, Cress, and Scarlet, I was just trying to reread them so that when I go into winter that I remember what had happened. And so I'm doing this. I didn't remember this because I did not remember some of these things. Like, number one, I didn't know there was a draft for androids to help find Princess Celine. I was like, what? A draft? That's crazy. Number two, I didn't even remember that she got drafted. Number three, I did not remember that there was an army of genetically modified lunars. I was like, what are y'all talking about? And then number four, I didn't remember her kissing Kai. I was like, wait, what? She kissed, huh? Okay. So, Shake the Table is a category where I feel like the author was really trying to tell society something. So, let's get into it. Number one, I want to talk about how she decided to place this story in New Beijing. And I was like, ooh, she's trying to sway away from like the Eurocentric way that we've been reading books. And I was like, ooh, shake the table. Then we have this whole treatment of Cinder as a second-class citizen. So that is the fact that, first of all, she is a cyborg and they don't treat her well because of that. And I thought it was a statement because in society, we have people that we don't treat as well as we treat others. People of color. What? I need water. So I think it was important to see in a book from the perspective of someone who is treated as a second-class citizen to help expand the what people who aren't treated as second-class citizens, how they can understand the implications that being treated like a second-class citizen has on someone's mental psyche. And I was like, yes, shake the table. Number three, when Kai first assumed that Cinder was a dude because she's a mechanic, I was like, wow, patriarchy, sexism. Really? Really, Kai? Just because she's a mechanic, did that automatically make you think that she's a dude? No. We have to expand past these gender roles. And I liked how she was able to execute that. So yes, shake the table. We're going to talk about guardian laws with Adri and Cinder. So, Cinder does all the work, but yet all the money goes to Adri because Adri's the guardian. And then, not only that, but Cinder can't even consent by herself. So when Audrey volunteers her for the draft, she just volunteered. She has no say in who she is. And I was like, wow, this is a statement about how guardian laws should be changed to reflect each situation. Because in a logical sense, okay, most people would have a parent who was guiding and nurturing and wouldn't, screw over their kids. But when we have a case like Adri, where she clearly does not care about Cinder, you can see where Adri being the guardian has dangerous implications on Cinder. So we have to think about that. I think Marissa was trying to tell us something about how we need to do that. So yes, shake the table. Last but not least, Kai kept asking her to the ball. And I was like, wow, this is probably really shattering for his ego. And I think that that's important because if we're looking at society, you know, a lot of times women feel like they can't say no. But I liked how Cinder said no. Now Kai just needed to respect it more. I mean, as a prince, it was probably really shattering to his ego. But I think that it is important to listen. Now, it did come in handy when he still had her name reserved. But all that had to happen was he say, hey, want to go to the dance? She says, nah. He says, okay, but if you change your mind, I have reserved you a seat, and I'll never bring it up again. Boom. Period. Done. Now you don't seem like a jerk who's pushing. So, yeah. Marissa, thanks for including that. Let's shake the table. And the last part is, trick, I'm a detective. And so that's me finding clues that led to the ultimate reveal, as well as me predicting what's going to happen for the next book. When Kai was acting that it was the utmost importance for his droid to be fixed, and that being paired with the fact that he's Prince, immediately I was like, this has some information on it. But I don't remember what it was. But I knew that it had some important information that we needed to find. Number 2, when they were talking about Queen Channery, and the fact that her kid has died. Now, I've said this before on my channel, but if there is no body, nobody has died. Period. And that's when you have to learn with YA. If you do not see a body, and I don't mean flesh bits, I mean an entire body, some skeletons, some brain matter. If you do not see a body, nobody is dead. So I was already like, did she? Are they? So then we have Cinder's recurring dream of her burning. And I'm like, oh, didn't they say that the kid was burning? So maybe that is why she's having that recurring dream, because she is the kid. Then Dr. Erlin was always a little sus for me. I always knew he knew something that he wasn't letting on. And that ended up manifesting into the fact that this entire research was to find Princess Celine, because he was trying to find lunars, because lunars are immune to the disease, and so he needed to find a lunar that didn't know that they were a lunar, because only a lunar who didn't know that they were a lunar would end up in the draft, because obviously if you're a lunar, you don't want to be found. When we find out that she's a lunar, but at first they say, oh my gosh, you're just a shell, I was like, but how does that help us defeat the queen? So obviously, she can't be a shell. She has to have something prohibiting her from using her abilities that we later find out is the thing that Dr. Erlin adjusted, which was this chip in the back of her spine. Boom. I don't know what it is, but that advisor, Torin, I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. I think I don't remember what it was, but he's either a secret lunar or he's sympathetic with the lunars. I don't know, okay? I think maybe it was Torin that installed that lunar chip into the android, Kai's android, and I don't know why, but I do not trust Torin. And we'll find out why, because I know I have a reason for it, but I do not trust him. When Erlin slipped up and said R, I was really happy that Cinder was like, you said R, because I was like, yes, catch him. He did say R, and I was like, that means that you are in fact a lunar, period. But then Erlin was talking about why he's in Earth and that he needs Levana to be taken down. It's because his crescent moon was killed, but he doesn't say killed. He says his crescent moon was taken away, and I was like, once again, if there is nobody, nobody is dead. That was a terrible jingle. And then I was like, ooh, crescent moon. I was like, is this Cress? Possibly? I don't know. It's been a while since I've read this, so don't tell me in the comments, because obviously don't want to spoil other people, but I'll figure it out once I read the next ones. When the girl on Over the Decom is talking to Cinder about how Queen Levana is planning on destroying Kai and all of civilization on Earth, I was like, oh, she's a programmer. Is she Cress? Because her hair was blonde. It was like, ooh, Cress is blonde, I think. Yeah. I was like, that's Cress. And then the reveal of Princess Celine, all these things that I've mentioned before, obviously hinted at she was being Princess Celine. as well as the whole Cinderella story retelling thing. Like, you gotta know that she has to be a princess somehow. So that made sense. So now, my predictions. So next book is the Red Riding retelling, I believe. It's Scarlet, yes. And like we saw, the genetically enhanced lunars, they had like hairiness and whatnot. So I think one of those lunars is Wolf, the character Wolf, I believe. I think that's what we see. I also predict that we'll see more of Cress. I was really surprised to see her this early, but we'll definitely see more of her. Um, we're gonna actually find out, hopefully, who ruined the android. I think it's Torin. You already know it's Torin. He's evil. I don't trust him. And then Cinder will, after she escapes from jail, she'll learn how to use her abilities to take down Vivana. So that concludes the end of my review. I hope you liked the way I did this one. And if you prefer this one over the others, just let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell notification so you don't miss out on when I post. So yeah, that concludes it. Bye.